Hello everyone. So I've come again with my beautiful thoughts, and today I'm going to be sharing something that I really thought deeply about, and I also came up with a beautiful conclusion from it. So this was about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden when the Lord placed them there and told them to eat from all the trees except that one. So let's go in. Sometimes I wondered that was it simply a test or was there something deeper to it? The Bible never directly gave us an answer to that, and I think that's interesting. We often make this story about one forbidden tree, but God began by talking about every other tree. If you could recall in the book of Genesis, it said, "You are free to eat from every other tree of the garden." Then came one exception. Isn't that interesting? God introduced himself through generosity before he introduced a boundary. And that actually made me think maybe the tree wasn't the first thing God wanted Adam to notice. His generosity was the first thing he wanted Adam to notice. Another thing caught my attention. God did not build a fence around that tree. He didn't remove it. He didn't even make it impossible to reach. He simply spoke, which tells me something beautiful about God. He often governs our lives through relationships and not restraint. Whether you call the tree a test, an opportunity to obey, or something else, one thing is undeniable. Adam and Eve had a real choice. And throughout the scripture, God kept inviting people to choose. We could see where it was said, "Choose this day who you will serve. I have set before you life and death. Choose life." God doesn't seem interested in forced devotion. Again and again, he calls people into willing trust. Then I noticed something else. Satan also never began by talking about the fruit. He began by talking about God. Remember the phrase, "Did God really say?" Isn't that fascinating? That before he attacked their behavior, he attacked their confidence in God's character. Maybe every temptation begins this same way. Think about it. Before we are tempted to do the wrong thing, we are tempted to believe the wrong thing about God. That he's holding something back, that his boundaries are burdens instead of protection, that obedience costs more than it gives. I still don't know every reason that tree was in the garden. The scripture doesn't tell us directly, but here's what I've come to understand. The story was never just about the tree, it was about trust. It was about whether humanity would trust the God who has given them everything. If the God who has given them everything could be trusted with just one thing that he withheld. And maybe that's still the question every one of us has to answer today. Not would I have eaten the fruit, but do I trust the heart of God who tells me no? Sometimes we think that our ways are the perfect ways, and we tend to forget that God is the one who created the world and he has the blueprint for the world. And so when you ask him for something and he decides to withhold one thing, and we feel God is being unjust, the devil tries to change our mindset of what we think about God, not knowing that God should and can be trusted at all times. Now, it's not just about you saying Adam and Eve did not trust God and they ate what he told them not to eat. It's about you asking yourself now, what is that thing that God has told me to withdraw from, to withhold myself from, that I'm still going into? Ask yourself, is it that you cannot trust the God that has given you everything to know better about just that one thing that he withheld? Trust the Lord. Trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding. Remain blessed.